Hey everybody, Dave, head geek of GroundCloud here. This time, come to talk to you about our incredible VEDR system. So, VEDR, you've heard about it. What is VEDR? It's not Darth Vader, it's VEDR. So, Vehicle Event Data Recorder. This is a new contracting standard that FedEx has all FedEx contractors requiring to do. It's going to be spread out over 2019 and some into 2020. Actually, there are a few early areas in New York City area, also in southern LA, the Southern California area, where they had some initial regions, and we got into some of those. We have about 150 vehicles equipped with our system right now, and it's working really well. So let me tell you about it. Let me tell you about why you are so going to want to consider the GroundCloud VEDR system, even if you're not a current GroundCloud customer. So here's the bottom line with the VEDR system. There are only 4 approved vendors out there that can supply you these systems. So obviously we are one of them, and there are 3 others. And my view, I don't think that's going to change. But here's the thing. GroundCloud is utterly distinct than the other 3 VEDR vendors, and here's how. The other 3 all work basically on the same way, in the sense that you have to jump through all of their hoops, both to install the system as well as to use it. And for the privilege of doing all of that, you pay more with them. On the other hand, the GroundCloud system is totally integrated. In fact, so many aspects of it are automated because of that, that it makes your life so much easier. It makes the system almost run itself, which is awesome. All the while it's keeping you in the loop, but at the same time it's offering you a tremendously lower price and it's because of all of that integration. Just to give you a teaser, the GroundCloud VEDR system is only going to cost $25 per month for every vehicle. Now FedEx is going to require you to have VEDR coverage on every single vehicle on your Schedule B. So this is a critical point, because you're also, if you have spare vehicles that you're not using every day, but if they're on your Schedule B, you're going to have VEDR coverage on there. And so if you're looking at some of the other vendors where it's $40 a month just for the VEDR service, just that alone, that makes a big difference if you've got a vehicle that is mostly running idle versus $25 on our system. Okay, so let me tell you about why GroundCloud is so much better, so much different than the other guys. And again, it comes down to integration. First, I'm going to tell you how the other systems work, and then you're going to see why GroundCloud is so superior. Okay, so every one of these VEDR vendors, we all have camera systems, independent cameras. The standard requires a forward-facing camera and also a driver-facing camera. And the cameras on the driver actually have infrared illumination around them to light up the driver, even if it's in a nighttime situation. But here's the way they all work. They are triggered. They're all continuously recording. And then when there is a G-force trigger, something like a sudden braking, harsh braking, or there is an impact or a swerve, or anything that is a hard sort of a G-force event, it actually will upload a segment of that around the event up to a panel of people that actually review it. Now, don't worry, that's not FedEx. So in our case, we have our own people doing it, and so that information is not transmitted to FedEx. So here's how this works. Let's say your driver hits a pothole. That would register as an impact. But that gets reviewed by these human beings, and that's required by FedEx, by the way. And what'll happen is that they'll just see that nothing happened. This was a nothing burger. It just gets dismissed. And this is the same with all of the different VEDR vendors. Now, here's where it gets different. Where it gets different is if they see something that actually shouldn't have happened. So let's say that same driver hits a pothole, and that driver is seen basically driving like this, right? He's got his phone in his hand. Big no-no. Shouldn't be doing that. So here's what starts to happen on the other systems. Number one, you'll get basically a notification, like an email, that tells you, hey, something happened in vehicle number 45892, and you need to go to the portal. You got to log into their website. Why? Because you need to identify the driver, because they don't know who the driver is. And that's one of the requirements of the compliance factors for FedEx. FedEx has 4 key indicators, they are called, that basically declare and define whether or not you are in compliance with the VEDR standard. And you're going to want to be in compliance, because if you are not at any given time, your deductible, your crash deductible, goes up to 10 grand. So this is a big deal. You want to be in compliance. Okay, so, but the other vendors don't know who your driver is, so you have to go to the system and identify who's driving the vehicle. So you got to stop what you're doing. You got to, when it's convenient for you, but you only have a certain amount of time to do this, otherwise you're out of compliance. But you got to go, you got to, look at the video, and you have to say, okay, yeah, oh, that's Bill Smith. Yeah, that's who that is. Okay, so you have to make that definition, and then you have to basically define some sort of coaching or training thing to do for Bill, so that you can show that you actually did something to, for device usage. You have to show that you took proactive measures. You've got to assign some kind of training to him, and then the next step is that part of the compliance, again, you have a total of 4 days in order to get that training or coaching done with that driver. So, it probably took you the better part of a day to get onto their website to identify the driver. Now, it's a day later. You might not even be able to talk to your driver until at least the next morning and tell him, okay, Bill, we had an issue yesterday, so you're going to get this email, and you have to go online, log into their portal, remember your username and password, and you got to complete this training. Okay, so what's going to happen? This is the way it's going to go down, folks. That goes out to the driver that night. So now it's day 2. Driver, you go to Bill in the morning. Hey, Bill, did you get that training done? No, I didn't, boss, but I promise I will get it done tonight, okay? And then next day, what happens? Next morning, Bill, did you get this training done? Had something come up, and now here's the problem. At this point, you are on the edge of compliance. In other words, this is going to be you're now at risk of day 4 going out of compliance. So this is what you are going to have to do. Mr. and Mrs. Contractor, you're going to have to lug around a laptop computer at all times, because now you have to stop what you are doing and you have to go find Bill Smith, the driver, grab him by the ear and drag him over to this laptop, set him down, open up that laptop, force him to log into the website, and stand over his shoulder while he completes that training so that it gets done. Does that sound like a lot of fun to you? It does not sound like fun to me. I would not want to do that at all. If I'm a contractor, man, I have so many better things to do with my time. I've got a million things going on. I do not have that kind of time to have to stand over my driver, but I'm going to have to. Otherwise, you risk going out of compliance, failing a key indicator, and that could take you down big time. That's a horrible system, in my opinion, okay? So here's where it gets so different on the GroundCloud system. Here's how our system works. Number one, when that same event happens, that driver goes out, hits a pothole, but on his phone, okay? Bill's on his phone. Well, the difference is the GroundCloud system, number one, we know who's driving that vehicle, because Bill would have logged into the iPad, and on the iPad, there is a simple pre-trip inspection that just asks him what vehicle he's in. He would have selected his vehicle numbers. That identifies Bill at that moment on that day of driving that vehicle. We know who it is. So that's a key indicator with FedEx. So that part is done for you on the GroundCloud system. That's a very cool thing. You don't even have to figure out that compliance key indicator is taken care of 100% for you. That's a beautiful thing. That's what you want. Okay, next up is the assignment of coaching. Well, again, GroundCloud, we've got automatic assigning of coaching, of training sessions, and these are specifically formulated for the VEDR system, that when that event gets scored by the human panel, they're going to score it as device usage. We, number one, we know the driver, and number two, we automatically assign the coaching segment or module to that driver. Here's where it gets really cool. The same day that this event has happened, okay, the very same day, the driver now is going to come back to the terminal, and we geofence detect that driver coming into the terminal. We know he's in there. Then, when he shuts off the ignition of that vehicle, we also get a signal from our VEDR system because it's hardwired into the vehicle. Now, right up on his iPad pops up that coaching session, that training that will tell Bill, hey, you need to get this done right now. How cool is that? Same day. So he knows what he's done. The system has told him he needs to get this done. Now, we're not so naive as to think that Bill is definitely going to get that done that day, right? We can absolutely envision Bill saying, you know what, bleep this, I've had a bad day, I'm going home. Okay, fine. Still got 4 days to get this done. And so here's what this looks like on the GroundCloud system. The next morning, when Bill goes to work, he's going to log into his iPad. Now, he wants to log in. Why? Because he wants his route, right? There's the carrot. There's the carrot at the end of the stick, the cheese at the end of the mouse maze that he wants to get to. And the very first thing that pops up is that same coaching on device usage. And guess what? There's no way around it. It's captive, okay? It's captive, so it means that he cannot circumvent it, he can't get around it. The only way to get to that cheese at the end of the maze, to get to his route and all that, is to complete the training. It's awesome. So he's gonna do it. And then, you know, he does that, he signs his name with his finger, his signature, we capture that. Proof of completion. How cool is that? There's another key indicator that is taken care of for you. It's automated. That is freaking awesome. If I'm a contractor, oh my goodness, having these things happen automatically, knowing that, and now I'm watching it, I'm getting notifications that these things are happening. So I'm not in the blind here, but I just can, you know, be very pleased with watching these things happen. Now, the only thing that you, the AO, or one of your BCs has to do is after the end of that, they just will go into our portal and they'll simply look at there and they'll just have a quick conversation with Bill and say, Bill, okay, I see you had this event, you completed the coaching, do you understand this? Don't use your flipping phone, okay? You're gonna lose your job if you keep doing this. Got it? Okay, got it. So then you just basically make a comment, little note in there, and you close it out. Done, that's it. And so with that, you're gonna meet those key indicators, okay? The fourth key indicator has to do with recidivism, like how often does Bill be a repeat offender, and that's defined as how many, a certain number of your drivers are doing the same types of bad things within 60 days. Now, to be in compliance with FedEx, you need to be passing 3 out of 4 key indicators, and this is such a cool thing with the GroundCloud VEDR system. You're pretty much guaranteed to get 3 of the 4 handled for you. So with the GroundCloud system, you're going to be in compliance unless you are grossly negligent. It's going to happen. And so the other super cool thing about the GroundCloud VEDR, well, there's multiple very super cool things. Here's one. You'll actually get a lot of use out of it that you wouldn't on other systems. Here's why. Because you as an AO or a BC, you're going to be in our portal. You're going to be in our portal watching and doing operations anyway. So with the GroundCloud system, with the VEDR system, at any time, you can just decide, hey, you know what? I've got that new driver, Jack. You know, I think he seems like a good guy, but I wonder how is he doing right now? With just one click, you're in our portal anyway. You can do and get live video. You can just see immediately exactly both cameras, you know, how he's driving and also looking at him. So you can answer those questions like, is he wearing a seatbelt? Is he making full stops at those stop signs? Or you get a notification from our system that one of your drivers has been sitting idle for 15 minutes. Hey, what's that new guy doing? He's just sitting there. Bring up live video. It's a piece of cake. One click, and you got it. You'll get that answer to that question. So very cool thing. Now, obviously also, if there's ever a crash, you're going to get those notifications. You're going to get that video right away. And just, I want to speak about that. Since we've got 150 vehicles out there, we've already had our first crash recorded on camera. And you know what? It's pretty sad because the driver was doing this. The driver was literally holding his phone just like this. His head was down, and he was literally making a left-hand turn and completely T-boned a car going in the opposite direction. And I tell you this because this is so critical to why the GroundCloud system, why we insist on you guys using tablets, as specifically iPads. Why? Because I don't care how many times you tell your driver, if any other system for navigation or any of the other systems out there, they all use the driver phone, okay? All of them. Here's the problem. Again, I don't care how many times you tell your driver, don't drive like this, they're gonna do it. Everybody knows it. And in the past, they've gotten away with it because there were no cameras, right? Well, here's the difference. Now there are cameras. This guy is just completely, he's done. He's never gonna drive professionally again. On camera with his head down, looking at his phone, and just completely T-boned another car. It was absolutely during the day, blue sky, no reason whatsoever for it. But I'm telling you folks, this is why you want iPads, because iPads are mounted. They're never going to be, drivers never going to be holding a big iPad like that. It ain't going to happen. So they're mounted, and they are legally considered part of the dashboard. They are never going to distract your driver. They are never going to, you're never going to have a video of a crash because your driver was holding and fondling an iPad, okay? That's just not going to happen. So that's why, again, we are so hot on having iPads out there. And with that current Sprint special, they are free, freaking free iPads. How can you not, what's not to love about that? So, by the way, if you are interested in that, just basically send an email to groundcloud@sprint.com. That's groundcloud@sprint.com, and they will get that process started. It's an amazing deal. So you pay $20 a month for unlimited data and a small $22 program fee. So if you had 10 iPads, it would cost you $22 for both the iPad and unlimited data. That's it. You do that for 2 years, you own that $500 iPad. It's an amazing deal. Okay, right, I'll get back off my soapbox on that. But hey, one more very cool feature I want to tell you about the GroundCloud VEDR system, and that is this. Now, as you guys know, the deductible for backing is rising to 10 grand for all contractors. So in other words, you guys are on the hook for every time your driver backs into something. And here's where it gets really scary. 45% of all preventable accidents are backing related. That's huge. That's a massive number, right? So that means you guys are going to be on the hook for a lot of cash out the door. So we thought, how could we help contractors deal with this? How can we help reduce backing accidents? And here's how we did it. Every time a VEDR system gets installed into a vehicle, we also wire it in such a way that we detect every single time the driver puts that vehicle in reverse. Every time. So we can track it. So number one, we can just start to track how many times your drivers are putting the vehicle in reverse. Now, of course, sometimes, a number of times, situationally, they have to. They're backing up to a dock, they're coming back into the belt. Of course, they have to. But there are other times when you and I both know they don't and shouldn't be doing that. For example, a lot of contractors want to tell their drivers, don't pull into or don't back into residential driveways because they hit stuff all the time. Or coming back out, they back into mailboxes or basketball hoops, or sometimes they back into eaves of a home. So, and why do they do that? Because the driver doesn't want to walk quite as far with the box, right? They want to drive up the driveway. Unfortunately, it's true. They want to, it's just a little bit easier on those short driveways that they really should be parking it parallel on the street and walking it up. But what can be done, right? You're not there, you don't know, it's hard to track, how can you tell? Well, now you can, because with the GroundCloud system, not only do we track reverse gear, we also take a little short, low-resolution video every time they back. Now, we record the forward-facing video. That's still enough to tell you where exactly they were. You know, if they were in the terminal or were they at a house or whatever situation. We also record that location so you can see exactly where they were. You will be able to totally tell, was this pulling and backing out of a residential driveway when you've told your driver not to. So the bottom line is this: you will be able to see the behavior of your drivers so that you can coach them before something happens, right? That's the key. Before it's cost you 10 grand or whatever, you know, time after time, man, that can kill a contractor quick. So we want to provide you these tools to avoid that, to mitigate those circumstances and get ahead of the game before and be able to, for you to talk to, get that information. And so the driver can't say, oh, no way, boss, I never did that, until you show them the video, and then they'll be like, oh, yeah, that one, yeah, I did that. So, right? So this is a great coaching tool to keep those backing-related incidents down, to get them really thinking. And they're going to know that. So they'll be knowing. They'll know that every time they back, potentially, they could be explaining to you why they were backing in that situation. And that's what we want, right? We want them to think about every backing situation. Is this truly necessary? That's a good thing. That's protecting the driver, his or her job. It protects you. So win-win there. All right, so in summary, again, folks, this is why you want the GroundCloud VEDR system. It is demonstrably the best system. It is automated, it's efficient, it's integrated. You know, we can keep the costs down. It's just 25 bucks a month. And so here's a great deal, guys. You can bundle, package together the GroundCloud base system plus the GroundCloud VEDR system for 25 plus 25, meaning 50 bucks. Gets you everything. In comparison, guys, remember, you know, those other guys, you know, the biggest one out there, they charge $40 a month just for the monitoring service. So for just 10 bucks more, you get everything that GroundCloud does. Everything. It's a world of difference in terms of a value. And remember, for the other guys, for any other VEDR vendor, you have to jump through all of their hoops. And lastly, the installation. I didn't even talk about the install cost. On other systems, you're looking at $800 plus per vehicle. For the GroundCloud system, you're looking at $600 per vehicle. Now, the install is going to cost you anywhere between $100 and $150 if you want it done by a professional, by a certified installer, which we totally recommend because it doubles the warranty. You get a 2-year warranty on the hardware when it's installed by a certified installer. Otherwise, if you want, you can save the money and install it yourself, and then you get a 1-year warranty on that hardware. But for much less money up front for the hardware, and of course, once your contracting window opens, and talk to your contract relations rep for when that will be in your area, but once that opens, FedEx will give you an incentive of $780 per vehicle. So with the other VEDR vendors out there, even right out of the bat, just for the initial hardware and install, you're paying them money. So with GroundCloud, you're going to be having some money in your pocket for the initial install, and then the ongoing service is way less with GroundCloud, enormously less, plus the feature set is enormously better. With the install, the other guys will force you to wait until they are coming to you. In other words, you got to jump through their hoops for the installation date, not with us. We have our own separate install fleet all over the country, and so we will quote you an exact price before it happens, so there's no surprises. So what you do is you can choose when to install, when it's convenient for you. They'll come right to the terminal, they'll do it at night, whenever you want. So in other words, we actually think you're the customer and we should serve you. The other guys seem to have that relationship reversed, and they seem to dictate to you how it's going to go down and when it's going to happen. And for that privilege, you get to pay them a lot more money. And then with the ongoing service, you have to do and jump through all these different hoops on an ongoing daily basis. Does that sound like a great deal? It does not sound like a great deal to me. No, this is the deal of the century where, I mean, how often does it happen where the system that has the absolute best features and functionality also has the lowest price by a long shot? And folks, it's because of the integration. It's because of the integration with the iPad, with, you know, we're Wi-Fi connecting to from the hardware of the cameras to this iPad. It's a beautiful thing. So if you want to consider, if you want to order, here's how this process works. Ordering GroundCloud's VEDR system, you will use a specific order link on our system, and what you'll need is you'll need to have every truck vehicle ID, you'll need every truck VIN number that you're going to cover, you'll need your CSP ID, and you'll need your contract ID that the vehicles are on. And then you basically, for the hardware, you pay for that up front, $600 per vehicle, and then we will ship that right out to you. And then also we then will either before or after that give you an exact quote of what the install will be, and generally we can get that done within 2 weeks. So you can do that on your time, at your pace, at your schedule. So thank you so much for listening to my video here on the GroundCloud VEDR system. If you've got more questions, I want you to contact me. So my cell number, you can call at any time, is 612-965-8070, or my email address is david@gogroundcloud.com. You can also go to our website at gogroundcloud.com, and under the VEDR section you can basically click the interest form, and we'll also send you some more info that way. So keep your questions coming to me. I know you probably have more, but trust me, you are going to love this system. The folks that have it so far absolutely love it. Oh, I forgot to mention one more thing. Even though the contract standard has 2 cameras, that's the $600 for the 2 cameras, forward-facing, driver-facing, you can actually go hog wild on the system and have up to 8 cameras on your vehicle. And there's already one guy that wants, it's pretty amazing. He put 6 cameras on sort of a test vehicle, right? He's got his forward-facing, driver-facing, because that's the minimum, but then he also has rear-facing, and then he's got a camera in the hold, like in the cargo area, just, you know, recording everything there, and then 2 outside cameras going left and right, to just basically recording everything. It's amazing. It's, you know, this almost recording almost as much data as like one of those Google Street View cameras going, or vehicles going down, except this our setup looks very nice and, you know, very discreet. So you can do that. So if you're ever interested in doing something like that, just let us know. We can get you a quote on a cost there. Obviously that's going to be more than $600 a vehicle, but that's up to you. But if you're ever curious, just you can ask us. We can give you a quote on that. All right. Again, this is Dave from GroundCloud. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks so much.